Today we'll continue with the Sigalovada Sutta. Next week, for this class, we'll have 3 classes on Sigalovada Sutta all the way through Wednesday to Friday. Originally, Thursday and Friday is dedicated for the Vajrayana class, but the Vajrayana students have a little bit of inconvenience to listen to that because it's a national holiday during May the 1st. And it'll be easier for them to listen to the Sigalovada Sutra. They can attend or not, that's then up to them. So, the Sigalovada Sutra, we have a few classes more. I'm not sure how many, but we'll see accordingly. And we'll finish this very soon. I feel that this sutra is easy to understand, and compared to other long sutras and shastras, this is rather easy to understand and very much relevant to our daily life. So, I think this sutra is very well made for everyone, especially hearing different feedbacks from people. People say that it's easier for them to get along with others. It definitely provides some suggestion and help when it comes to interpersonal relationships. But this is not just about this lifetime. It is also about next lifetimes. Sometimes I ponder on my own before I go to sleep or when I wake up. I would think that whenever I teach this particular sutra, I think this is very good to share with everyone. For those of you who listen to this sutra, then whenever you have an opportunity, go and propagate this sutra after you study this. Of course, by propagating doesn't necessarily mean that you have to teach, doesn't mean that you have to give a teaching on this sutra to a group of disciples. It's not necessarily having to take up such a format. But you can share certain content where you feel it's very beneficial, very helpful to yourself and others, and you can share that to people around you. And that is also considered as turning the wheel of Dharma. That is also considered as the teaching, as the sharing and propagating the Dharma. If you can share the teachings often with others, this is propagating the Dharma. Last class, we talked about how if one do not worry about the coldness and hotness in winter and summer, work diligently day and night, there is no way that your success, that your career and action won't come to a successful fruition. And if you could be diligent all the way, then you could be happy and you can be devoid of worries. If you are not worried about coldness and hotness, and always be diligent, then everything will be easy for you. There is no difficult situations. There is no obstacles that you cannot overcome if you are diligent and if you are determined, and if you can work through your life in such a way, then you will be devoid of worries and you will be happy. All such kind of happiness comes from diligence. And when you're being diligent, you should also pay attention to subtleties, lots of the details. You should also pay attention to those details. If you can do that, then mundane or transmundane, all things that you want to accomplish will be accomplished. In terms of propagating the Dharma, people may feel that, well, I'm not a Dharma teacher, I'm not a Khenpo or Khenmo, I don't have such a title. And if I don't have such a title, then I can't propagate the Dharma in this lifetime. In fact, lots of people who don't really have a title, they actually had lots of beneficial actions to others. And maybe there are people who have really good reputation and a very high title, but not able to benefit others. Therefore, in your mind, you should constantly contemplate that each and everything that you study, you should try to implement that in your life. And you should try to share that to others. All your actions, you should infuse all those kindness into each and every your actions. If you can follow such right action, then through the dependent origination, naturally, good fruition will come, will blossom, will manifest, and good atmosphere around you would naturally manifest as well. In your after-class discussion, when I watch all of you are so dedicated and so focused during such discussion group, I feel heartfelt joy. And I really think that if you're studying the Dharma for the wisdom and for the truth and not for the benefit or wealth or fame that you may receive, then I think the Buddha will be also very delighted to see. In this sutra, there are so many practical advices. Therefore, you can actually have lots of opportunities in your daily life to discuss it with others. There are people saying that, please let me go, please release me from this mountain, this valley. In fact, I'm not kidnapping you. You can go whenever you want. Many people goes out to find disciples. As you can see, that Buddha's cousin compete with the Buddha for disciples. So sometimes it's not really about where you are. As long as you have the mind of propagating the Dharma, as long as you have the mind of sharing the teachings, then you will have the opportunity. So let's continue. Buddha then told Sigalovada And he said that there are the 4 enemies disguised as friends. You should be careful. At first, they may seem like they're your friends, they're your relatives, they're very close to you. However, they could create great harm to you. They're just like the enemies. So who are these 4 then? First one is the taker, the talker, and the flatterer, and the reckless companion. These are the 4 types of people. And later on, there are detailed explanations on the 4 of them. In summary, though, the 4 of them in Master Chi's commentary, he also talked about the 4 types of enemy that's disguised as friends. The first one, the taker, or in Chinese it means that the one that's holding fear towards you. So those are the 4 different types of characters for the for the enemies who disguise as friends. So, on the surface, and they may seem like they have lots of fear towards you, they have lots of respect towards you, they're so respecting you, but they have lots of underlying agendas. So this is the way to discuss this from the aspect of the mind. Maybe they would pretend that they have the sense of fear towards you. That's the first one, the taker. And the second one is the talker, the one who often says sweet things to you and praise you and so on, but not really from their hearts. The second one is from the aspect of speech, and the first one is from the aspect of mind. The third one, which is flatterer, that is from the aspect of body. It seems that they would use their body to respect you, but in their heart, they're not respecting you at all. So from the mind, speech, and body aspect, the fourth one is reckless companion. That's from the combination of all 3 of them, having the malicious mind, malicious speech, and malicious body or action towards you. There are definitely friends like that in our practical life, in our reality. Many people don't really believe in others. On one hand, it's probably because of the education, maybe because of the guidance that you received. And another reason is that in this society, there are people who are really not genuine. They may appear to be one thing, and deep in, they may feel very differently of what they express themselves. It's said in the connected discourse that there are people who behind your back fiercely revile you and slander you in hundreds and thousands of ways, while praising you in your presence, saying you are a virtuous person. They'll praise you as that you are the only one who is worth this, and you're the only one that is so kind in this world. So use all different kind of ways to praise you. In this world, nowadays, many people are like this. People who have a little bit of money, a little bit of fame or status, have some wisdom and talents, and then people would praise you and say things that you really enjoy hearing. people without wisdom, they will believe it right away. They would consider, yes, I am that great, and they'll get really arrogant about themselves, floating in the air even. They would feel that everyone praised me, I must be a really wonderful person. But in fact, you haven't heard the other side of the opinion yet. It is only that people are praising you based on your wealth, your fame, and your beauty, or so on. But are you really that great? Not necessarily, because behind your back, people may say very differently about you. Also, because no one is perfect, you must have some kind of shortcomings as well. And before others find out, or even if they found out due to different reasons, they won't speak to your face. Therefore, if you are praised by others, don't feel so arrogant. And if you are scolded or slandered by others, don't feel upset. Don't feel arrogant and don't feel upset based on other people's speech. That's very important. So that's the general idea. And then behind each of it, it has the extended explanation. The first one then, the Buddha said, the taker can be identified by four things. By only taking, asking for a lot while giving little, performing duty out of fear, and offering service in order to gain something. So they'll give you something beforehand. They'll show their generosity first. But it's not that they're really generous. It's because they are after something later. They will offer you something small and wanting to gain something big from you. So very calculated. They may see, you may notice, oh, this person is really good to me, treating me so well, my best friend, treating me lunch and dinner every day. But you don't know what this person is after. They may conceal their true intention behind all those small generosities. Then the second one says that they give little but asking for a lot. Nowadays, giving gifts, for example, construction teams, they will offer some gifts such as alcohol and cigarettes, and eventually, after they have a good relationship, then the construction team will ask the official for some kind of project to get the project so that they can gain profits. So, on the surface, they may appear to be friends, but they are really enemies under the disguise of friends. Lots of officials nowadays who fall in the traps of those construction teams' bribery, then those officials will get locked up after. They are also suffering from such kind of bad friends. At first, they are not really respecting you, and because they encounter some kind of difficulties, and therefore, out of fear and out of their own protection, for the purpose of their own protection, they will respect you, and they will be really nice to you in order to gain more wealth. Especially nowadays, they want to gain more wealth from you, and they then appear to like you. nowadays, this kind of things happen very often. So these 4 things are the 4 things that could be identified as a taker. They have very different agenda behind their action. And for this kind of people, we should really keep our distance with. In the worldly, there's a worldly saying where it says that when you are famous and wealthy, then all the enemies will all respect you as well. And when you are poor, then even your family and friends will also part from you. Just as stated in the storehouse of Sundry Valuables, where it says that when you're rich, you have friends, but when you're poor, they quickly leave such friends. In the history, it is recorded many incidents happen like this as well. In the intrigues of a warring state, it recorded a true story of a famous person whose name is Su Qin, and he started off with being really poor, and his family and relatives, his sister-in-law especially, do not respect him at all, and he felt really saddened. And after his political dream came true, he then came back to his hometown. At that time, all of his hometown people all came out to welcome him. And his sister-in-law, who was really mean to him before and looked down at him, then respected him at that time because he was famous and successful. He became the hand of the emperor, and she was crawling on the floor to receive him as a way of asking for forgiveness. There's another story told. There is another story recorded in the sutra. His name is Sabaja, and he was really rich. At that time, all of his family and friends and relatives are all very nice to him. And later on, when he got poor, all of his family, friends became very mean to him. He was really upset, and then wandered around to a different country. And because of his talents, and then he gained another bucket of wealth and became really wealthy, came back to his hometown. When he came back to his hometown, everyone appeared to be very happy receiving him. They were dancing and celebrating of his return. And then he decided to wear a ragged clothes and stand at the beginning of the line, appear just like a beggar. And this line was really long. At the back of the line, there is an elephant. He pointed when the relative came to ask him, where is Zabaja? And all the relatives were welcoming, but at the end, they did not see him. The relatives did not see him. And then at the end of the line, someone told the relatives that, no, he's at the very beginning of the line, not at the back. And then the relatives chased him and said that, you are here, so why did you say that you're not? And he said, well, you're not here to welcome me. You're here to welcome the wealth that I brought. So all the wealth are at the back of on the back of the elephant. Therefore, you should just go and welcome the wealth directly. So this is very sharp language that appears their hypocrisy. In our world, also we can notice that when there are wealthy people coming, everyone seems to be very happy. But when there's a person who's not successful, who's not wealthy, then people don't really show their respect. I remember a news of Murdoch. He has a media empire in the United States. Around April, he slipped on the way to the toilet, and because of his age, he's really and he was in a rather dangerous situation. And at that moment, all of his children all came back to his bedside from all over the world, just like how some children would go to their parents only when they're ill, not when they're healthy. And the reason, not necessarily their health, but maybe because of their wealth that may left behind. I think that's just like how some CEOs and some of the boss of a big corporation, when their health decline, when they're in rather difficult health situation, have a difficult health condition, then everyone started fighting for the power and fighting for the wealth. Not many really care about the person, but they care about the wealth. So this kind of people are called the bad friends or evil companions. They may appear to be friends. They may disguise under the facade of friendliness, but they're not true friends. What is a true friend? Under any kind of circumstances, wherever you are in your career, even if you are a beggar or a millionaire, the friend is still the same to you. They're the true golden friends. Because let's look at gold. Under whatever circumstances, the gold still keeps its value. So, for friends, they don't really change their care and they don't change their opinion towards you under any kind of circumstances. So, in this kind of situation, the evil friends, they react in a very different way. Their attitude very much is dependent on how a person's wealth and fame is. They have a very different agenda rather than caring about you. A true friend will send you care and love when you need it the most. When you already have fame and wealth, you could probably have lots of care and love. But the true friend gives you such care and love when you needed it the most. Of course, it's impermanence. In our lives, things could change. There could be different obstacles happening in our life. But the true friend, they don't change. They will treat you the same. You may feel that I'm a good friend with this person. I am not a good friend with the other person. Of course, when you are in a good place in your life, you have care and love from people anyhow. But when you're poor, when you don't have a good source of income, when you lost your status in the society, then you notice that there are friends who will abandon you. And those friends will go to people where they can receive more benefits. The second one is the talker. The talker can be identified by 4 things. So what are the 4 things then? First one is they will follow you whenever you are when your life is going well. They will praise you whenever you're doing really well. I so very much admire you, your wisdom and your talents. Your ability is just absolutely wow. I really admire you. Maybe you don't have such kind of quality, but they would praise you just as the same. So whenever people praise me, right away I have doubts. I would right away feel that what kind of agenda does he have? I'm not. I didn't teach so well today. They would say that you're so handsome, and I feel, wow, this person definitely has something, some other agenda. When people say that, well, you didn't teach well, then I would feel, well, this person is really quite straightforward. Either has the wrong view or rather quite direct. So that's how my mind works. So praising you doesn't necessarily mean that that person is a good friend. Then the second one is supporting you with supporting you in good situation, but not supporting you in bad situations. When a person is sick, is ill, you see that people around this person will leave that person. When the parents get sick, the children will leave the parents. The third one is when there are good opportunities to approach. On the surface, they don't dare to stop you from a good opportunity, but behind your back, they will plot to to make you fail in such good circumstances. They will speak bad of you. They will try all their best to stop you from getting to a better place. The fourth one is whenever you are whenever you are experiencing misfortune, some great obstacles that's very dangerous even. And then at that time, the so-called friend will not help you, not only not helping you, but will hit you when you are down, will abandon you in such a situation. When you encounter some kind of obstacles, I think it's quite important to observe whether if people will come and help you. People may feel that in Tibetan we say that when you are wealthy you have more guests, and when you are not wealthy then you don't have many guests. Otherwise, I think this is better. Otherwise, when you're poor, if you have lots of guests, that's not a good it's not really easy for you to deal with, isn't it?
那么这是那个呢，就是说这个就这个当中的话呢，就是主要是从这个就是那么这是什么？就是内岸的那种这个像清明啊、原地吧
talkers.
而且这些人呢
The four things that you can identify as a talker. They will say nice things,
也是怎么讲
but
也是对你是那个就一直是欺骗的。
They will lie to you.
不是这个真心的，
They
不
are
是
not
真诚的。
genuine to you.
大宝藏经当中，我不知道以前讲过没有，就是有一个老婆罗门很倒霉的一个故事。
There's a story I want to tell you. It's recorded in the Agama Sutra. It's a bit long, but I'll still tell you. A Brahmin and an old Brahmin who married a young wife. At that time, the young wife that he the newlywed young wife did not have the trust from this old Brahmin. And then once this old Brahmin's son from his previous wife was burned in fire, and then at that time the old Brahmin asked his newlywed wife, "Why didn't you save him?" And then the wife said that it's because he's a man, and I'm not going to touch a man. And at that time, the old Brahmin then gained trust to his newlywed wife. But so he agreed of inviting some young Brahmin to his family. And then later on, he found that the wife was cheating on him with a young man. Out of disappointment, he left the home and he went to a hotel. He stayed with a friend at that time. In the morning, the friend said that there's a leaf that fell on my. There's a leaf that stick to my clothing, and this piece of leaf is probably from that hotel. So I have to go back to return this leaf because I vowed of not taking anything from others. And then he put that leaf back to the hotel. And then this old Brahmin felt, wow, this friend is such a wonderful friend. I should really trust him. So at that time, he really trusted his friend. He trusted him with his wealth and everything. And once when he went to the washroom, his friend ran away with all of his belonging and wealth. And he was so heartbroken because he felt that he was so honest and he talked so and his words are so trustworthy, but he ran away with all my belonging and all my wealth. Then he rested underneath a tree. There's a bird, and the bird had some leaves and grass in her beak, and helping smaller birds to build bird nests. When these bigger birds helped the smaller birds building the smaller birds were very grateful to the bigger birds, and then trusted and invited these big birds to live with the small birds as well. Then once during a time when the small birds went out to look for food, the big birds left behind in the nest and end up eating all the eggs laid by the small birds. And then this Brahmin, witnessing this, he felt that not only human but birds, there are such terrible characteristic in birds as well. Then on his journey, this Brahmin met another Brahmin. The Brahmin saying that go away. And this old Brahmin asked, why are you saying this? Who do you want to chase away? Then this Brahmin saying that, well, because I have such a pure precept, I don't want to step on other sentient beings, therefore I have to warn them and ask them to go. So they decided to go together, and the old Brahmin felt that this Brahmin has a really good virtue, and then they stayed at a different place because the Brahmin said that because I have a pure precept, therefore I can't stay with you. But at night, the old Brahmin found out the other Brahmin had a group of women with him and doing impure actions. So the old Brahmin then felt very disappointed, and then he felt that man and even animals, their words may sound really good, but their actions are all deceiving. As stated by the connected discourse, it says that they're the ones who say pleasant words but think differently from what they say. Their behavior is inconsistent with their speech. Wise men should be aware of it. What people say and what people do could be very different. Therefore, the wise man should use their wisdom to differentiate who's a really good friend and who's not. There are people who tend to believe very easily. They're very gullible. They would believe in whatever other people say, including some spiritual friends when it comes to relying on guru. There are people who are professional liars. And their career is based on lying. Some of the commercial, some of the propagandas nowadays, all the people who are engaged in such career, they would first notice what people's habit is, what do people like, and then they'll plan accordingly to sell their product and their service. Yes, there are fake gurus. It is only because there is the market it for people who are superstitious and who are gullible. If everyone has wisdom, let it be studying the Dharma or in this world. If they have wisdom, then all those fake gurus or all this advertisement won't succeed in their selling points. We are gullible only because we don't have the ability and wisdom to differentiate. We are not able to see who is malicious. And then those people have the opportunity. They can use their methods to lure you into the webs that they made. Studying Buddhism is the same as nowadays in the world. So I really hope that people could have wisdom and differentiate the spiritual teacher, taking empowerment or searching for learning, studying opportunities. When you have such longing to spiritual wealth or worldly wealth, at first you have to observe. Once you observe, then you won't regret. If you don't observe, then all of your actions, your hasty actions, will end up being very harmful to yourself. And you'll be deceived by others. You should notice that. 就是对我们就这样的这个适合呢，就是也应该大家也要有一种这个敬畏之心。When people treat us like this, then we should be aware. 不知道刚才谁来了一个。Who gave me this? 这里有日语啊，日语是 the sun and the moon. 是我们现在很多地方也比较重视，就是这个。I think the symbol of the sun and the moon. 它两个加起来的话呢，就是我们这个min啊，就是韩文当中是。In Chinese, it means brightness. 然后这个min呢，是无明的这个未平。Brightness is the opposite of ignorance or darkness. So it's also wisdom that it could cut through all the heterodox and wrong view from the sun. And if we separate the symbol of the sun and the moon, then it has the teaching of the yin and yang. Let it be other religions or in Buddhism, maybe worldly or transmundane, the day and night, all of those contrasting dharmas, all of those different dharmas, but putting together it means non-duality. So in such a way, it's also really good. Therefore, for those of you who have spiritual path or belief or without, then this is also a very auspicious symbol for you. People from the 5 continents, they all long for the brightness of sun and moon. Without the brightness from sun and moon, they will reside in darkness. Similarly, the brightness of wisdom and compassion are also very much needed in every place. We don't need the fetters and bondage of faith and religion, but we hope that the sun and moon may brighten up everything in this world and nurture everything to grow and give strength to this world. So that's the function of sun and moon.
什么当中也可以插在上。
You can put it on the thermos, on your notebook, on your clothing.
衣服上如果有的话呢，也
If you have it on your clothing, it also looks really good.
就应该是
It looks fashionable.
就是这个身肯定不太好看，这个。但是
Maybe not on this, but
就是带有这种吧，就是那么它呢，就是不代表一个宗教，就是我们的这个想法呢。
It is not a symbol of a religion. It could be, and it doesn't have to.
职业呢，就是它是哪一个宗教的话呢
Each and every religion, you cannot say that you have the moon or the sun.
月亮的话，那就是它代表就是一种光明。
It symbolizes brightness, wisdom that could dispel the darkness of sentient beings, dispel the ignorance, dispel your own ignorance and darkness. It has such dependent origination because of the Buddhas and the Sanghas and the Dharma's blessings. Wherever you see the symbol of the sun and moon, may people generate the relative and ultimate bodhicitta, just as whomsoever sees the sun and moon, they would feel that, wow, there's brightness, and then I can see. Just may people all feel such blessings that comes from the three jewels and receive the happiness from such blessings. I posted on Weibo, there's a quote where it says, the translation of my version and the other version is a bit different. It says that when the Buddha is born in this world, it's very joyful. How joyful it is that we have the Sangha in this world. How joyful that we have the Dharma in this world. The Dharma brings happiness. The Buddha's birth in this world brings happiness to sentient beings to this world, and the harmony of the Sangha brings happiness to this world. So everyone in this world needs such happiness. And I think such kind of origination also is based on or need to be derived from such brightness. Once you have the sun and moon's brightness, then you can have the wisdom of the lotus blossom. Of course, you cannot wear this in Larungar. If you wear this in Larungar, you'll be expelled from this school. In Larungar, it's very traditional. It's a very traditional.
我们这个外面的这个标志的话呢，就是可以带在上面的话可以用的。
It's a very traditional place, but for others, you can wear such symbol.
下面就讲到第4个嘛，还是第3个是吧？然后金孙呢，就是有4世啊，就是云和4世呢。
And then the next one says that
就是现况啊，就是
flatterer.
你可能自己都不知道，以前
Also, there's the 4
就它有各种
things that you can identify flatterer by supporting both good and bad behavior. They would use different ways to.
这些恶友的话呢，他将来呢就是也会这个欺骗你的啊，就也会就是以这种。
In the past, they will deceive you.
然后现在的话呢，就你也许可能自己都不知道，但是还是
now
也是这个会欺骗你的啊，就是。
They will continue to deceive you.
中华汉经里面叫这个。
According to the Majjhima Nikaya, where it says that now whomsoever acting in front of you, you see that they are just deceiving you. The relatives around you, maybe on the surface, they're very nice to you, but maybe they've been deceiving you from the past, and now they're doing it, and in the future they will deceive you in the future as well. That's the evil friends as well. And the second one is whenever they see, and the fourth one is that whenever they see you are suffering from an obstacle, and not only they do not help you, but they will hurt you because of that. They see such opportunity as your weakness, and they will hurt you. They will continue to remind you of small things that happened, or a small shortcoming that you have, and from that person's eye, then they will continue to enlarge it and exaggerate such kind of small shortcomings. So for such kind of evil friends, it is rather also very dangerous. At the beginning, you probably didn't notice their true face, but you will suffer because of such a personality. So you have to really observe and analyze others' personality. According to Mipa Rinpoche's The Just King, the teachings of the Just King, it says that although dishonest people may show you respect, they do so out of necessity and not because they like you. You should not trust anyone without examining them and becoming convinced of their sincerity. At first, they may appear that they respect you, but then later on, they really don't. At the beginning, people may not really believe in anyone. But nowadays, I think that's a kind of trend of education. They would teach the children that do not trust anyone, you get hurt, in the West as well as in the East. But do not just think that everyone's bad. What it's saying is that you should observe people before you place your trust to others. Of course, such observation needs a time, a period of time. The tiger's stripes are on the outside, but people's thoughts are hidden within. So you really need time to observe people's mind and their intention. At the beginning, they may not be so apparent, but slowly with time, with the period of time where you can observe others, then you'll notice what their true intention is. That's the third one, and then the fourth one is the reckless companion, and that can be identified by four things: by accompanying you by drinking, the friends, the sinister friends, where they invite you for drinks and eating flesh, eating meat. I think for Buddhists, you probably don't have much of such friends. All the friends who eat lots of meat and drinks alcohol and smokes cigarettes, I think those kind of friends are getting less and less, and eventually all the friends started to complain to you that why you became like a monk, why you don't do any of this with me anymore. Just as all the monks are like stones, they don't feel and they don't do anything. Or gambling. I'm not going to expand too much on this part. And then roaming around at night.
有一些这个就不良行为的狼狈为奸
they
这
have
样的这种行为的这种人，就是这是。
then
然后第四则呢，就是前
they
面讲
have
的这个购物实质有
actions
这种购物可能不是平常的
acting
所谓的
in
购物就应该是
collusion with
就不亲近行为的
others.
这种购物之由吧。那么这些呢
And then
就
the
是叫
fourth
做
one
这个恶
is
友
partying.
这些是这
So
个
friends
就是
from
四种恶
different
友
parties. So
其实
those are
这
the
个
four types
这里
of
面所谓的这个恶
bad
友的话呢，
friends.
就像我们前面就是讲到的这个
This
四
is
种恶友啊
in this
其
part
实也
it's
是
very similar
八
with
宝
the
基
ones
金当
that's
中也是
mentioned
这样的
before.
就是说是
In
原理三
the
只是常情尽恶友，就是有些人
jewel
呢经常原理三只
In the
的经
Sutra
常
of
呢
a
就是亲
heap
近
of
恶友
jewels,
这
it
样的
says
话
that
呢就是随
keeping
便教
aloof
诲
from
转
authentic
疏
spiritual
而出
teachers
啊，就是
while
因为你
associating
回来的话呢，就是
constantly
随
with
着
bad
这些恶
companion
友的
with
教诲
bad
转呢，
companies
就然后慢慢慢慢
and
的就堕入
influenced
这
by
个
their erroneous
三恶道
philosophies
当中
lead
是
one
非
to
常的这
reborn
个
in
可怕。
lower
我
realms
们
in
今生当中
lives
最
to
最
come.
可怕的就是恶友，就是那
So
么这个
the most
甚
dangerous
至有
and
些高僧大
fearful
德，你看像阿底
ones
峡尊者、
that
卢浮王
we
尊者、华智仁
associate
波切，
are
包
the
括
bad
六祖大
friends.
萨，他们的话呢，就是都是
Sixth
原理的恶
Patriarch
友。
and
就是
lots
所
of
以
past
大
masters,
家还是应
they
该
all
对
part
恶友呢，
themselves
就是还
from
是要这个谨慎
bad
很重要
friend,
的。然后接
distance
下来就
themselves
是
from
佛陀呢，
their
就
bad
是
from
宣
bad
说这
friends.
上面的这个
And
偈
then
颂啊，
the
这个
Buddha
上
summing
面
up
的
in
这个偈颂
verses,
的话，好像那个
the Buddha
智法
said,
度和中阿含经当中的
according
话呢，就是
to
我们前面的每四个
Master
那
Jifadu
个内容的话
and
呢，就是都有一个
in
偈
the
颂来这
Madhya
个做戒
Agam,
备
in the
的啊，这
Madhya
个方面的
Nikaya,
所以呢，看一下
it
中阿含经的那个
has
智法度的这个
more
译本当中都
verses.
有一个
They
偈
have
颂来这个戒位的，但是
short
这个这
verses
里面和
to
长阿含经的话呢，
conclude.
就是没有这样的。
But
这个
over
是
here in
有
this
两个偈
particular
颂来就是做这
translated
个全部的
version,
戒
it is a
位。
bit
那么
different.
佛陀是当
So
时
it
呢
has
就是
only
这样
short
讲的，我
verses
们前
over
面讲的
here
这个
only rather
维
than
护
for
二常
after
情，
each
就是这是一个
of the
恶
four
友。
things.
然后呢，就是媚样啊，亲野染，就是你通过媚样
So
的方式来
the
亲近
friend
的恶友
who
的话呢，
is
也
all
是一样的，
take,
就是这是第二个恶友。第三个的话呢，
friend
就是那么这个
of
精神啊，就是
empty
那个
words
虚光气呐，就是那么就是就表面上对你特别的
they
这个
appear
尊敬啊、
to
尊重啊
be
这样的
respecting
这种
you,
情况的，
but
就是这种
they
这个
lie
亲
to
近，
you
这
and
是第
deceive you.
三个恶友。然后第四个恶友的话，那就是恶友，就是恶友，也就是说这个前面的这种这个什么赌博啊、酒
The friend
饮
full
酒啊，
of
就这样的
flattery
这种恶
and
友。
the
那么
reckless
这些呢，就
friends.
是叫做是恶亲
These
啊，
four are not
看起来
friends
是
but
看起来
enemies.
是亲戚一
They
样，
may
就
appear
是
to be
看起来是
friends,
亲戚一样
but
的，但实际
they
上呢，
are
就是对
really
你这个
enemies disguised as
危害
friends.
啊，就完全是
They
这个
create
跟
harm
原来
and
的这个敌
danger
人
to
呢，就
you.
是没有什么差别。所以呢，我
So
们应该呢，就是什么那个就是跟这些呢，就是应该是这个就是什么啊，就是远离。
So
啊
we
就是
should
那么
part ourselves from them.
那么此亲就是不可视啊，就是那么这些这个恶友的话呢，我们不
We
能
should keep
这个
them at
就是依靠
distance.
不
The
能
wise
这个
one
依止
understand
啊，
this.
智者呢就是当觉者，那么有智慧的人呢，就是
The
应该
wise one,
通过这个智慧
through
来
their
就是
wisdom,
觉知
they
觉知什么呢？
see
就是很
that
快的时间当中也远离
in a very short
远离
period
它
of time.
那他是不远离的话有什么危险呢？
And what's
就
the
是你
danger?
肯定会是这个堕入于万丈深渊嘛，
As
就是特
they
别这个
keep
可怕的。
the
所以呢，就像
these
是
kind of
我
evil
们就
friends
是
at
逃避
distance
一
as
个
they
陷
would
阱一样
a
就
dangerous
是
path.
特别危险的地方的话，那就都不敢亲近啊。就是
So
下面是这个特别深的河，然后上面是悬崖，就是这个上面有一个特别这个细的路的话呢，你敢不敢过去啊？不敢
Let's
过去，
think about
不
when
小心的
you
话呢，那
walk
就是可能
into
掉在这个河里面
this
这个
place,
没有
this
这个没有什么这个生存的机会
dangerous place
同
where
样的
they
道
only
理
have
我们
a small
实践当
road.
中
Do
的
you
话呢，就是对
really
你的
dare
信
to
仰
walk
对你的
past
智
it?
慧对
No,
你的
because
所
it's
有
too
的一切
dangerous
都有危
and
害
you
的话
will
呢，
probably
那么就
lose
是
your
尽量
life because
不
of
要
it.
呢就经常在
Therefore,
当
for
中
people who may bring
吃喝
harm
玩
and
乐，因为
danger,
自己的文思修行也
then you
好，
should
自己的
distance
这个实
yourself
践当中
from
的很
them.
多的这个行为的话呢，其实依靠恶友而得到的。我都就是去很多的监
Whenever
狱嘛，
I
每次
go
我
to
去监
different
狱
prisons
里
to
面的时
teach,
候呢，就有一些
I noticed that
这个其实监狱里面我有很好的朋友，就是
in fact, I have
就有
good
一些
friends
因
in
为跟
lots
他
of
们谈得
prisons
很拢，其实
because
他们
I have
自己
good
还是有一
conversation
种
with
悲
them.
伤感，但实际上跟他们一见了的时候呢，尤其是一起之
Sometimes
下
I
就是
feel
然后呢，就是就
saddened
感到
because
哎
of
是这
that they're in such a situation, but they would share their experience, and they would tell me that they only conducted some of those illegal illegal actions out of impulse. And some of them, they are imprisoned because of bad friends. At first, they thought they're good friends, but slowly they are then influenced by such bad friends, and then they conducted illegal actions, and they were imprisoned over here or abroad. Many prisoners, many inmates, in fact, they're very kind. Even inside the prison, they even become great philanthropists within a prison. Some of them, they have religion. Some of them, they have their spiritual pursuit and so on. Although they're in prison, but it is because they have made such mistake due to some impulse or some causes. Sometimes I say to them, in fact, our fate, maybe because our destiny and our fate is a bit different, but in fact, you're all really good people. Today I would like to point out that let it be that you're a practitioner or not, and some bad friends could really lead you to the dark abyss of places that you really don't want to go. People who enjoyed going to places that's really not good. Maybe they don't really feel that it's dangerous for them. But slowly they will then slip into a dangerous place eventually. So it's probably better to live in a rather simple life. Maybe it's not that maybe it's not that exciting compared to the other. But as it is said that if you scratch, the more you scratch an itch, the more itchy it gets. So it's quite important to maintain a simple life, just as monastics or a good practitioner. I really hope that you can contemplate more. Today, we probably talk quite a bit about negativity of not trusting others easily and so on. It sounds very negative. Unlike in Vimalakirti Sutra, where we talked about non-duality, how everything is a bodhisattva. And today, from this sutra, it seems that everyone is bad friends, is bad people. You should not trust anyone at all. But different sutras have different approach and different angles. And we'll stop here today.